Hey, let's do this.
All right. Good?
Yes.
All right. Hello, my name is Caitlin Rigdon, and today I'm going to teach you a little bit about U-Substitution and what it is and how to do it. So basically, U-Substitution is something that you use when you're taking the antiderivative or you're integrating an equation, and it is the inverse of the chain rule. So if you think of how the chain rule works, U-Substitution is the inverse of what that is. So basically, we have this equation. And we're integrating 2x multiplied by the square root of x squared plus 1 times dx. And to make this a little bit easier, we're going to use U-substitution. So we're going to assign a variable to an equation. So we're going to have u, and we're going to make it x squared plus 1, because this is the thing within the square root or within the parentheses if you have a different equation. So you have x squared plus 1, and now we're going to take the derivative of this equation, so it's going to be du, and that's just going to equal 2x times dx. And then we're going to figure out what dx equals, and so we can plug it back into our original equation. So dx, and you would just divide 2x on both sides, so it would be du over 2x. So these are the three. We're mainly going to use u and d of x, but d of u was kind of how we figured out that third equation. So now we're going to go back and plug it into our original equation. So we're going to do the integration of 2x, and then instead of the square root, we're going to replace it with u. And I'm not going to do the square root, but I'm going to do the power of 1/2, which means the same thing, just to make it a little bit easier to take the antiderivative. And then instead of plugging back in dx, so we have similar variables, since we now have a u instead of an x, we're going to use what we solved over on the right hand side, and we're going to plug in du over dx. So we're just going to write du over, or 2x, not dx, 2x. And then as you can see, there's a 2x right here, and then there's a 2x on the bottom of this equation, and these are actually going to cancel out. So then you're going to have u to the power of 1/2 times du. And now you can take the antiderivative of this, so you're going to add 1 and then divide it, and so it's going to end up being 2/3 u to the power of 3/2 plus c, because the du turns into plus c. And so now you have this u, and you're going to plug your original equation back in for what you had for the variable u, and we have it up here at this very top equation. So it's going to end up being 2/3, plugging this equation back in, so x squared plus 1 to the power of 3/2 plus c.